So this is Diesel for We the People. I think we need to bring this up to our attention. Number one, there is actually a couple of bills that's coming out that's going to affect gun owners. And damage is done. It's about a 98% chance it's going to go ahead and pass Congress. So you guys need to get on your phone and actually call your senators for whatever state you live in and make sure they're not going to pass this bill. But this is the couple of them that we're going to get into. And it's just a short version. Don't want to keep the video long. Especially it's just me yapping. Alright. So one of them is HR 8. The number 8. Alright. So short and sweet. You're going to have a third party involved in your gun sales from private person to private person. Okay? And you're going to have a qualified FLL involved. So, private person is going to have to track down really a gun business. And then that gun business is going to give authorization for the other person to buy it. Number one thing we need to do about that is call the senators and ask them, how does that save lives? Okay? You got a couple other questions, that's fine and dandy, but that's the main question. How does this law actually save lives? Number one, they shouldn't have this law in the first place because the Second Amendment is not to be infringed upon. And yet, we keep on consenting to these things and just, they're going to do whatever they're going to do, this, and this, and we keep our mouth shut. Majority of us, anyway. Alright? So, until you get socked in the eye hard enough, most people is probably just not going to call. To be plain out blunt and honest with you. But as much as people we can get done, the better off we'd be anyway. So this is HR 8, and it's really a third party involvement of selling your gun. So just for even argument's sake, if I decided to sell my gun to my son, I still have to go to a qualified FFL. And have to do the transfer action to that. Okay? So that is one of them that's going to pass. And don't know for sure if it's going to pass in Senate or not. As the Senate has gotten in a tricky situation here lately. So we'll see how that goes. Alright, so the other bill is... and this is what you're going to be a little bit of a boogler-woogler too. Okay? So it's HR 1446. Okay? In essence, right now, the short version is it takes 3 days to get qualified for a gun. And if it takes longer than 3 days, you're automatically passed. Okay? What this law really and generally talks about is that if it takes longer than 3 days, alright, you're not automatically qualified. So the time on this is 30 days. Okay? And so if the federal government don't decide to do their jobs correctly, like we know they don't, they're just going to take their sweet time and let the time run out, and they'll just get to the people they get to at particular times. Alright? They're not going to get in no hurry, they're not going to bust their hump, and they're not going to just sign off on a sign-off sheet or anything like that. If we get lucky, we may find a couple of people in there that's that way now, because they think this is a stupid law. Alright, so this 1446, what this does, since you absolutely qualified after the 3 days automatically is now that you got to wait wait until they actually qualify you. If it takes 30 days, then you actually have to go back and refile the forms. Okay? If you happen to get one of them gun activists inside there, they can just never get to you for as long as this law stays active. So the rest of your life, you wouldn't be able to get you a gun. It just depends who's sitting behind that door. Again, what we have to do is call our senators and find out, how does this save lives? Period. All right? You guys can add a couple of things of yours. Of course, in Texas, it's Ted Cruz and John Cornyn. All right? So we're fairly safe. Cornyn, look, they're both not, they say they're constitutionalists, but they don't even know what the Constitution is. They don't even know what the original intent. They say they study this and they study that. They study legalese Constitution and not lawful Constitution. Two different things. Okay? But that's the two major deals as of this point now. I know there's some stuff out there. And you guys, they're passing these laws like they're hotcakes. So that has to give you an idea that Congress had these written up a long time ago, just in case the right people were in office, and go ahead and be able to pass these laws. Okay? And, obviously, we got some of the Republicans in there is going to back up the Democrats and all that. Now, I'm going to be plainly blunt and honest with you. I'm not like some of the other people. I think we need a small government to kind of keep everything in a maintained level. I do not believe in this big government we have now. And I do believe that we need to keep our government officials in line. And even though these voting things are fraud, you can always call them and raise your concerns. And you just go find your main office closest to your location and stick your head in the door and say, hey, since my congressman or since my representative of any sorts is just ignoring me on my answers or anything like that, that it's a serious issue, I thought I'd just show my face and say, hey, I'm not going away. And you guys, this may happen, but you may have to do it. Certain things is just, worth for us to stand up and walk into our local office and just say, hey, I just going to let you know that I haven't given up and I haven't found out what the true intent of whoever it is. And all I keep on hearing from y'all is, I don't know. I'm not allowed to say. Well, by gosh, figure out how to get in touch with them and figure out how you can answer these questions, or you tell them to answer the question. Okay? They don't have a right for the Fifth Amendment. They're our employees, and when we demand to answer, they need to give it. So, anyway, just holding your feet to the fire. And y'all, be careful out there. And yay, spring is coming closer. Boy, this was a rough storm this last time. Until then, this is Diesel with the People. Don't forget, give your senator's office a call and just voice your opinions and ask questions. And you'll find out they play these stupid games with you. And just call them out. Well, he really don't know what he's going to decide yet. Yes, he does. Yes, she does. They already know. Just plain out tell them, look, I'm not stupid. Tell me what it is. Because if he don't know what it is, or she don't know what it is, after having it already, well, then he's not smart enough being elected again. So I guess I'm going to have to vote him out next time. And I will postpone it. I would tell everybody on Facebook. I would tell everybody on YouTube. I will absolutely do my best to get him out of office. So let's figure out how we're going to do this and work together. It's okay for them to threaten us. It's time for us to threaten them back. The only thing they care about is the re-election. Look, sometimes we have to do something evil to get rid of evil. And challenge them. If you're a Republican, by gosh, tell them, well, if he don't do no good, then I should have voted for a Democrat because I'm getting the same thing. And if you're a Democrat, same thing. Well, if you're not going to do what you're supposed to be doing, I might as well vote for a Republican because I'm getting the same thing out of you. And don't, and use a little bit of kick in your voice. Use it as an attitude. And let them know that you're a little aggravated. Because that's when they think you're serious. Is when there's a little bit of tone. Don't go out, and really just be cussing up a storm or anything like that. But use a tone. Look, I know how these games play. But unfortunately, the one that called you today is not the stupid one. So, tell them to get off their butts and figure out what they're going to do. Until then, this will be for we the people. Bye, y'all.